What's going on, everyone? So I just wanted to give a brief review of the movie Godzilla the Planet Eater, which is on Netflix right now, streaming right now, that you can watch. And it took me a while to get around to it, but I finally watched it, so I'm going to give some of my quick thoughts, mostly just on the ending of the film. But if you don't know, this is the third movie in a trilogy of animated Godzilla movies. I guess it's anime. It's all CGI, though, so whether you call that anime or not, I don't know. But this is the third and final installment, so this is the trilogy, so they're all on Netflix, so I'd recommend checking them out. But I'm just going to get the elephant in the room out of the way, is that I hate the way that these are animated. I cannot stand the animation style, and if it was not Godzilla, I would not have stuck around to actually watch through this entire movie, because I can't stand the CG animation style. A lot of times with CG in anime, it looks absolutely awful, ridiculous, and for me, the visual stimulus is a big reason, is a big turn on or turn off point if I watch something or read something. So if I'm reading a comic or watching an animated film or animated series, the animation, the way things look, are really important to me. Now, some people can kind of disregard that and just go through it and have that not bother them, but for me, it's a really big deal. That's why there's some very famous comic runs out there which I just can't get into, because honestly, the artwork throws me out of it so much. And with this, I have to say this is definitely the same. If this was not Godzilla, I wouldn't have watched it. A lot of the times characters are trying to express emotions, and the voice actors are doing a pretty good job, but their faces just look so plain. It's like there's no movement, there's no animation, there's just their eyes just are still and their mouth flaps are going, but that's it. And when that's done in 2D animation, they do that in 2D animation also, but for some reason I think that looks more natural than watching a 3D image, because a 3D image feels obviously three-dimensional. So it looks like a face is there. It looks like you could actually grab out and touch the face, right? But the face isn't moving when it's talking, and it just looks really awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't like it. And I completely understand if people don't want to watch these movies because of the animation, because quite frankly, it sucks. I'd give the animation a 1 out of 10. 1 just because, hey, you tried, you did it. That's just me. I'm not an animator, so, I'm judging just as a viewer, just as far as my visual enjoyment of a film, but I can't stand the way that these are animated. So with that out of the way, talking about the actual film, the storyline and characters of these films, I actually really enjoy, which kind of makes me even more upset at the animation, because if this was just animated better, I think I would have loved these movies even more. I think I would have cared so much more about it and been so much more into it if the animation was good, because the story is actually good. And that's actually a testament to how good the story is, in my eyes anyways, is that I can look past the animation, get through that, and actually enjoy the movies for the storylines that they are, because it actually is really good. And I know there's some gripes out there about these movies, which I'll get into here in just a second, but for me, I thought they were great, and I thought this last one was the best of the bunch, and I thought it ended wonderfully. So I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of plot details and spoilers and whatnot, but what I will say is that I think the point of these movies, at least a big extent of it, is bringing it back to what Godzilla was originally intended to be, which is basically a metaphor for nature coming back and telling mankind that mankind cannot run this shit the way that we think we do. The original Godzilla came out in 1954, was a response to the atomic bomb going off in Japan at the time, just a few years earlier in World War II. And the idea was that Godzilla was created by the radiation and the chemicals and everything involved with creating a bomb like that, so nature kind of took back what belonged to it. Godzilla came out, caused destruction and whatnot, and Godzilla was caused from mankind fucking around with nature. And that was kind of the whole idea behind it. And that's what these movies do. These movies, they drive home the point that Godzilla just cannot be stopped. And that's the whole thing about it. Godzilla is not an animal. Godzilla is not like dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. He's not meant to be an animal. He's not meant to be, a creature like that. He's meant to be a monster, a kaiju. He's always been referred to as a monster, a giant monster, and that's what Godzilla is. It's not an animal. It's a monster, 100%. King of the monsters, if you will. So in these movies, Godzilla is just this unstoppable, unbelievable, gigantic force that you just can't fuck with whatsoever. And in that, they present Godzilla as this massive, towering thing that he moves very slowly in these films. He's very like, because if you think about it, if you actually had a creature that large, its movements probably would be pretty slow because, in order to get from point A to point B, you're covering so much distance that his swipes would seriously feel like they're in slow motion to us. So it's done realistically in that sense. And it's just the whole idea that Godzilla is supposed to be this giant, unbeatable, unstoppable thing. And every single thing the humans throw at him, all the technology, all the nanotech that they put in this movie, which I thought was actually really cool. The fight scene at the end of the second film, or maybe in the middle of the second film, where they're using the nanotech and the machine. I don't remember. I watched it when Netflix first dropped it. But whatever the machines were that they were piloting, that they were fighting with them, I thought was pretty cool. But it's all futile. Even like leaving the Earth and coming back, yada yada, and Godzilla's still around in the first movie. The fact that he is just there, like he is just a force of nature to be reckoned with, and nothing can stop him. And in this third movie, we get another monster, King Ghidorah, which is it's the most famous Godzilla villain. It is the Joker to the Batman that is Godzilla. It is his arch nemesis, and we get this movie's version of it. And this is where I differ from a lot of fans, because I was looking a few things up, and a lot of fans seem to really hate what they did with Ghidorah in this movie, and they wanted to see a monster battle. But for me, I knew that wasn't going to happen, because that's not what these movies are. These movies aren't monster fights. These aren't... They're different. These are very different style Godzilla movies. They're not going to be a big kaiju brawl, monster fight, kind of things that we've seen before, and I didn't expect that, especially from the animation style. Like I said before, animation style sucks, and I couldn't imagine what a fight scene would really look like in this animation style. It would probably look awful to begin with. And secondly, everything going on around the fight and like the meaning and the symbolism of the fight was the point of the film. So Ghidorah in this movie is from a different dimension. So, this dimensional kind of gateway is coming, and basically they're bringing Ghidorah there to destroy everything. He's worshipped as a god to these people. So, to a particular character in the film, yada yada, I don't want to, spoilers, whatever. But, so Ghidorah is this creature that's supposed to come, and he's the planet eater, he's supposed to come and destroy everything. So, you have the three Ghidorah heads, which are kind of separated in this film, because there's like three gateways, right, and the heads are coming down, and just like you see in the poster, he's fighting three like long snake-like heads, and Ghidorah always traditionally looked like a dragon, basically, but with three heads and one body. This, basically, we kind of get like three separate bodies, and Godzilla's trying to fight him, but he can't get a hit on him because he's not like corporeal in this dimension or something. I don't know, it's really weird, but for a moment it seems like Godzilla might have met his match. But anyways, I think the spat that they have in this movie was actually really, really cool. I like the way that it was built up around it. I like the score that was happening behind it. The visuals, for this kind of animation, the visuals look the best here than they had during the entire series. And I didn't mind it. I didn't mind this new kind of take on Ghidorah, and I know that might be weird because I'm traditionally a guy that doesn't like remakes or doesn't like things changing from the original and kind of a deal. But in this version, in this animated version, even if these were live action, honestly, I think that I wouldn't have minded. Because these movies are not about the action, about the fight scenes. These movies were more of kind of an allegory of Godzilla being that force of nature, and technology, as great as it is and as much as it's accomplishing, as much as I can record and upload my stuff here through technology, because of that, humanity screws itself over. And, because there is a very dark side to technology, of course, which is what the original Godzilla was all about. And so... So spoilers, I'm gonna talk about spoilers now. So at the end of this film, when the main character decides to kind of self-sacrifice himself to Godzilla, he's flying towards him. He's getting rid of the remnants of whatever would be left of that technology, all the nanotechnology, and then the tribe of people that had grown up originally around Godzilla can kind of move forward from there. They can kind of move forward and create the society, living in a society where Godzilla exists, because it's kind of like, if Godzilla is this force of nature, right, it's kind of just like he's one of the elements. He's a typhoon, he's a tornado, he's an earthquake, he's something horrible is going to happen. These horrible natural disasters happen, and the idea is that Godzilla is just part of this natural order, this natural disasters. So when he's there, it's horrible. You try not to be around it, but it's one of those things that's inevitable. It's like it's going to happen. At some point, some kind of tragedy is going to happen, and that's kind of what he represents. And the humans like constantly fighting back against him, and the hatred that the main character feels. It's a big theme of how much he hates it. It's more of like accepting it. You have to accept that these things happen, and accept that nature is going to take its course no matter what you want, no matter what, how much technology you get, how intelligent you get. Nature is still nature, and if it wants to, it will wipe you out. And that's the whole idea. That's the idea behind it to me, and that's why I really like this movie, and I think the ending works perfectly because of that. And yeah, it really worked for me. Now, like I said, I really wish these were animated better, or these were live-action films. That would be great too. But we got a couple of new Godzilla movies out while we're waiting for the new American one and the new whatever Toho decides to do. So I thought it was pretty interesting because of that. But anyways, if you saw the movie, if you're a Godzilla fan, tell me what you thought down below. Were you super disappointed there wasn't a big monster fight? Did you like the ideas and concepts behind these movies? What did you think of the animation style? Comment all that down below. We'll have a little chat about it. So thanks a lot for watching these guys. Give up a thumbs up and subscribe if you think you should. I think you should. And I'll talk to you next time.